How's it going, everybody? Today I wanted to talk about a daily task, or maybe it's a weekly task. It depends on how big your family is, that most people find really easy and actually lots even enjoy. But if you're an INFJ, and if you're an INFJ who is also autistic, this task is a very challenging, difficult, and to the fact that we absolutely hate it and dread doing it. And it's grocery shopping. I know it sounds like a weird thing to talk about today, but I do have a purpose for it. And my purpose for today's video is for people like me, an INFJ, and an INFJ who is also autistic, that is me, to feel a little bit more understood, to feel less alone, and to just understand themselves. This was huge for me, finding out that I was not the only one that absolutely despised grocery shopping. And I am actually going to get into this a little bit and tell you a little bit about my story behind this and why I think this is important. And it's interesting. So thank you so much for joining. If we haven't met before, my name's Trina Bretnell. I am with INFJ Unfiltered, my little company. I like to show up and share things that can help people like myself feel understood, feel less alone, and feel good about themselves, and hope to inspire people to take action just to make their life better, because we are amazing people and sometimes it just doesn't feel like that in this world. So that is what I do. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm very glad you found it and I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning, I'm so grateful you came back. All right, before we get going, I also want to mention that if you have a topic you want me to talk about, please put it in the comments. But if you don't want to put it in the comments, I'm going to drop my email in the description of this video. And feel free to email me privately, because that's a big deal for me. And if it's a big deal for me, it's a big deal for other people to share. Well, it used to be. It's not anymore. But to share some of my struggles in the comments where like the whole world can see that, and that can be scary. So if that's scary, then I'm going to drop my email in the description, and feel free to email me, because I love to get the emails and I love hearing from you guys. So if you have something you want to talk about, or a question, or even just a thought that you want to share, please email me. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that I remember to put it in the description. I will. I'll remember. For really bad memory, I'll remember. So my son, summer holidays just started, so my son might be coming in and you might hear him in the background, but that's okay. It's kind of a big deal. He was very nervous about summer holidays starting. He is also autistic. I don't like to use it as a label, but he is. So summer holidays starting is a change of routine for him. Even though he's excited about being home, it was still a change of routine. And he has had massive anxiety for like the last month about this. And yeah, it's been good. So anyway, getting into this, grocery shopping. If you hate grocery shopping, let me know. I would really like to know. I thought it was only me. You know what? I hate any kind of shopping. It's not just groceries. I hate any kind of shopping. I always have, right from when I was a kid. Going to like shopping malls and, oh my lord, it's just crazy. I don't, that big store. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the name of the store, but there's a big store in the main city close to us. And it's like, it has everything. You guys will know what store I'm talking about, but it's got everything that you can think of, right down to electronics and groceries and pet food and automotive. And it's like the busiest place in the world. And I remember having to go there as a kid. I do not go there now as an adult. It is a great store and there are fantastic deals. I do understand that. Oh, I will shop online with it, but as an adult, I avoid it because it is so busy in there. And you go in and there's so many because it's in like a big warehouse, and there's so many bright lights and there's so many people and there's movement and there's forklifts beeping because they're backing up and I can hear them. And then you go to the checkout and there's a lineup from here to Timbuktu. Like there'd be like 10 people long, and every cashier, and some people had 2 or 3 carts full of stuff, and we'd have to wait there as a kid, and I hated it. And I didn't know why, because I'd see everybody else would be so excited. They get to go shopping with their parents, right? I hated it. Then when I became an adult, I despised grocery shopping even more. I avoided that store. I like to stay I live in a little town, so I like to stay and shop locally in little towns, but in our little stores. But it still gets busy and I really hate grocery shopping. And I used to come down on myself about it, right? I'd be just nasty because, like, who hates grocery shopping? I have to shop for my family, right? We have a total of 4 kids. I gotta shop. I gotta buy food for the family. Sometimes I'm there, it seems like daily, although I try not to be, and I hated it. And all the other moms, they seem to really enjoy it. And actually, I know lots of moms and dads who use it as like their downtime. It's their time to relax grocery shopping. And to me, it was dread. And I used to beat myself up about this, thinking that there was something wrong with me. Like, why do I hate grocery shopping so bad? Like, what is going on with me? I know I have a lot of quirks, but what's going on? But that was before I knew that I was an INFJ and before I knew that I was also autistic. Finding out about being autistic has been relatively new. It's only been about a year. It was when I found out also with my youngest son. That's how I found out that I was. So, and it's been a huge eye-opener. And actually, I love the fact that I found out about it because it answered a whole bunch of questions. And this is what I'm going to talk about today is the grocery shopping. Because like I said, it made me question myself as to what was wrong with me. Just yet another thing that was broken about me, right? Grocery stores for INFJs and for autistic people are like very overwhelming. This is a very common struggle. So if you do struggle, and I know a lot of INFJs who hate grocery shopping. I've come across them. I have a lot of INFJ friends and we all hate grocery shopping. It's very overwhelming. There is lots of sensory overload in a grocery store, right? There's bright lights, there's loud noises, there's crowds, there's loud announcements, there's beeping registers. There's, like I said, there could be forklifts moving around, moving pallets of supplies, and then they beep when they back up. And then there's the constant movement of people. This is very exhausting and it's overwhelming for high sensitive people. INFJs are high sensitive and autistic people are high sensitive. So grocery stores are like the worst place for us to be in all reality. Well, I can think of worse, like carnivals. I absolutely hate carnivals. Oh my Lord, I hate them. There's one coming up in our town in a few weeks. And I'll take my son to it because I think he should experience it and I just dread it. I hate it. Anyway, off topic. I get off topic sometimes. Sorry about that. INFJs, we hate crowds and the social interaction. Should I use the term hate? I'm going to use the term hate. Hate is a very strong word. Maybe we'll use dislike. Hate is very strong and it's got a real, in my brain, it's got a real negative connotation behind it. So let's use dislike, although I may say hate, who knows. There's the long lines. There's lack of personal space in a grocery store. That's huge for me. Huge. You know what? Back to my story of grocery stores, now as an adult, I even drive through the parking lot to make sure that the stores aren't busy. If the parking lot is too full, I refuse to go in. And actually, I've had people get mad at me, like roll their eyes and make me feel really bad about myself because I wouldn't go in. But I know that it's too hard for me to go in if that store is busy. And you can tell a lot from the parking lot, especially because I live in a small town. So if that parking lot is full, that store is going to be busy. So I will either move on to the next store where I can get what I need, or we're just going to go without it for another day and I'll try again tomorrow because I live on an acreage and there is no way that I'm going back to town for the second time to go grocery shopping or to go shopping of any kind because I absolutely hate it. Okay, so I had to throw that in there because it goes with that lack of personal space. And especially like around holiday seasons. If there's a holiday coming up and I know I need to get groceries for that holiday, I will go like 3 or 4 days in advance and just keep my stuff fresh in the fridge as best I can because I will not go when it's close and it's crazy busy. Christmas shopping, I do all online. Anyway, it's interacting with the cashier is also another thing that really aggravates an INFJ, right? We may actually interaction in general. Going into a grocery store, especially if you're like me and you live in a small town, chances are you're going to meet somebody you know. That's small talk. You know, when I go into a grocery store and I see somebody I know, it's like the Mission Impossible song starts playing in my head and I'm like going all over the place, avoiding these people. Not because I don't, it doesn't have anything to do with me not liking the people. I like a lot of people. I just don't want to talk to them. I don't really want to say hi and I don't really want to ask them how their day is going and how they feel about the weather because to me, that's like a waste of time and it drains me. So I really hate small talk and a lot of INFJs hate that. And grocery shopping tends to have a lot of small talk within it. So that is another reason why INFJs hate grocery shopping. Then and this goes for, and that might even go for autistic people too. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me know in the comments if you're autistic, if that goes for you. But then there's also decision fatigue, okay, with grocery shopping. And this goes for both autistic and INFJs. This requires, grocery shopping requires numerous decisions. What to buy, compare prices, how much to buy, right? And for people with a strong preference for routine and predictability, this is very challenging. And INFJs and autistic people we both have a strong preference for routine and predictability. Then there's change and unpredictability in a grocery store, right? They changed the layout of the store, guys. Isn't that annoying? When it's like the worst thing. It will throw my entire day off, put me in a tailspin when I go into our store and they've changed it around. And I'm just like, oh my good Lord, now I don't know where anything is, and this is going to take me longer, and it'll ruin my whole entire day. It will, I push myself to do it, but really, my hands will start sweating, and I get so irritated, the tension across my shoulders, my anxiety level skyrockets just because they changed the layout. It's like a big deal to us. It's real. That feeling is real, guys. It truly is. I hate it. I'm going to explain why, because I'm going to actually give you a few tips that I found to make grocery shopping easier. I should have said that earlier. And that'll explain why I absolutely hate it when they change the aisles around. Now, this next thing I'm going to talk about is huge for me, and it's task complexity. Complexity? Did I say that right? Yeah, it's huge for me. It's huge. It's the process of grocery shopping requires multiple steps when you think about it. I had to really unpack this as to why I hated grocery shopping so bad, because really I hate it. It's one of the worst things in the world. So this was huge coming up. I had a conversation with ChatGPT about this actually to find out if this was a real thing. And it is really real. And I don't know if ChatGPT is a he or a she, but I called him he. But whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a real thing. So grocery shopping requires multiple steps. Think about it. We make a list. We have to go find the items, decide on the brand, the quantity, stay within a budget if you're in a budget. This is very overwhelming. Autistic people, we prefer routine, and we can find multiple steps way too much of a challenge, because it calls for us to execute functional skills such as organization and planning and that sort of thing, right? Now, you would think that the INFJ in me would be okay with this because I like organization and planning. However, when it comes to this type of thing, I do not at all. In fact, I hate it. It's too many steps. And when I thought about this, and I think back in my life, anything that requires me to follow a whole bunch of steps, I really despise. It's very challenging for me. When I worked corporate, they put me in payroll. Oh my gosh, you guys. Talk about anxiety. Don't ever do that to somebody like me. Please, for the love of God, don't put them in payroll. There's a lot of steps to payroll, and there's a lot of serious steps because it could impact somebody's livelihood, right? Oh my Lord, I hated it. I'm not even gonna go down that road. That's like a black hole. We're not going down there. Just if you're watching this and you're not an INFJ and you're not autistic, and maybe you work with somebody who you think might be, for the love of God, don't put them in payroll, please. Don't do it. It's horrible. INFJs tend to be detailed and detail-oriented. Yeah, that's the word. Words are very hard right now. Detail-oriented and conscientious. Did I say that right? You know what I mean. Which this will lead us to overthinking about every decision we make in the grocery store. Okay, so we have all the steps to the tasks, lots of steps for autism, and that's horrible for me. And then I overthink my decisions in the grocery store, and I totally do that, you guys. Do you do that? I do that. I totally overthink my decisions. I'm a little better now because I know this happens, so I'll catch myself and I just smile to myself and giggle. then I force myself just to make the decision, and I'm okay with that decision. So that's great. These are all some of the reasons. There's more. It's actually like a big thing to unpack, but I didn't want to keep you guys too long. But these are some of the reasons why I hate grocery shopping, and I picked out the ones that I could relate to the most when I unpacked it. Now, I said I was going to share with you what I have found to make this easier, because it's something we have to do daily, isn't it? Like, well, maybe not daily. I try not to go there daily, but it depends on our family size. Like for me, I try to do it once or twice a week, although some weeks I'm there more than that. But if you've got like a really large family, you might be there every day, right? You can only keep so much in your fridge, so you might be there every day. So, but anyway, it's definitely a weekly or a monthly thing that we have to do. I mean, we need food to survive, right? So to make it easier, I found if I make my grocery list, okay? Now, taking it a step further, group your items. I group my items by row, which is why when they change the aisles, like I know my store very well. So I can picture it in my head when I'm making my list of what I need, and I go through the aisles and jot down aisle by aisle what I need, and I can rotate through the aisles really quick and get what I need, and it's okay. And I just hit my mic, so if you heard that, I'm sorry. But when they change the layout of the store, oh man, I hate that. I think it should be against the law. They shouldn't have to do that. Anyway, so group item by aisle. That works for lots of INFJs. I do know lots of INFJs that do this. But if that doesn't work and it feels better, you can group it by category. Also, like dairy, meat, bread. You got the idea, right? I'm not going to get into all the different categories. You could group it by category and stick to the essentials. I mean, that's not hard to do right now, because if you live in North America, groceries are already just anyway, so we stick to the essentials, right, in price. Now, the next thing that helps me is limit my decisions. Stick with familiar brands. Familiar brands are predictable. We know how they're going to taste, and everything's going to be okay. The world isn't going to end. Stick with familiar brands. If it's within your budget, don't overthink that. Weekly meal planning helps me with this. It helps minimize the choices that I need to make. So building a whole menu for your week, some people will do it for an entire month. I'm not that organized. I would like to be able to do that, but I'm not. But meal planning does really help with that. And it also helps with the budget, to keep in the budget. And it also helps with stress throughout the week, because you don't have to decide, what am I going to make for supper? That question, right? So meal planning really helps with that and limits the decisions that I have to make in the grocery store, and it really does help. Next, I need to see my notes here. Shop during sensory hours. This is something new. I didn't know there were sensory hours. I just learned this in the last month. There are sensory hours for people. Did you know that? Anyway, shop during sensory hours. For Walmart, I believe sensory hours are every day between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when I like to go grocery shopping, is early in the morning, because there's not very many people there. But those are sensory hours. So I think what that means is they try to keep, I think the music is shut off. All the TVs are shut off. They try to keep like the movement and packing shelves, I think, to a minimum and that sort of thing. So I'm not really 100% sure what all is involved in sensory hours, but shop during sensory hours. Shop online. I do a lot of my shopping online. However, when I did grocery shop online, because we can do it in my town, I tried it. And the very first time I've tried it, I picked from 2 different stores, because I like things at 2 different stores. And both those stores, they double charged me for my entire order on the same day. My very first time online shopping for groceries. They double charged me. So I had to go into customer service to both stores and really interact. And it really was the end of my world. And I'm not even going to get into that, because it was horrible. So I have never grocery shopped online and do like the curbside pickup since then, because it was a really bad experience. But I do know lots of INFJs and autistic people that do it, and they really like it. So I'm not really sure if that was just my higher powers saying that, no, you need to get out in the store to socialize a little bit. And practice mindfulness. You can't ever go wrong, no matter what it is you're struggling with. Mindfulness is key. It's a power nobody can take away from you, and it is very powerful. So stay grounded. That's huge for an INFJ. Not sure about autism, but INFJ is huge. Stay grounded, stay in your body. This will help reduce anxiety massively. And use mantras if you have to. Okay, I do that lots. When I feel anxiety building, like when I'm grocery shopping and there's people around me and I get in that space where I'm like, do they not know that I'm shopping today? Can they not like leave? Because like even if I have to go down, I have like everything on my list by aisle. And if that aisle happens to have people down it, if it's only one person, I'll go down it. If it's more than one person, there is no way I'm going down that aisle. So it will kind of throw me off, and that will actually spike my anxiety. So I'll use mantras. My favorite one for that is just silently saying to myself, I am okay, I am safe, and I am loved. And that brings me right back into my body, into the present moment, and it helps really calm that down. I hope this was helpful. If it was, I invite you to like my video. If you haven't yet, then I invite you also to subscribe to my channel. And again, if you have something that you want to talk about or you want to share, feel free to put it in the comments. But if you don't want to put it in the comments, then feel free to send me an email. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope somebody can relate to this and feel less alone and a little more understood, because that was huge for me. Huge. When I came across this, it was on another video I came across, and I'm like, wow, this is actually a thing. It was huge, you guys. Like, I actually had to send the video to my mom, and I had to send it to my hubby Jay. I'm like, see, this is a thing. They never judged me for it, neither one of them, but they would always just laugh, and they were good because they're just both amazing people. But anyway, I was just so excited that this is actually a thing, that it's not something that I made up and it's in my little weird world, that it's a thing. Anyway, I've talked long enough. I'm going to let you go now. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll talk to you again very soon with another fun video. Bye-bye for now.